everybody. That's right. Welcome to another live stream, a midweek live stream here at Potsquatch Growers. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day so far. We're doing all right here at Potsquatch Growers. No one's really said hi other than Miss K and Red's Homestead. So what's happening, Red's Homestead and Miss K? Oh, and there's Mud Swap. What's happening, buddy? All right, everybody. Welcome to the show. What's up, Jeremiah Sanchez, buddy? Welcome to the show. I hope everything's coming through to you pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Right now, we're using the new phone, so I got a new i15 Pro Titanium 512 Ultra Max, blah, blah, blah. We switched to the iPhone because with the new computer that's still coming in, we haven't received it yet for running the shows. It'll make it easier for doing editing and all of that. So, not to mention, I actually had my phone stolen. It was shitty. I went to a work event. It's supposed to be this big, wonderful day, and somebody stole my motherfucking phone, man. And so, anyway, these things happen. And then I had to go spend a ridiculous amount of money. Not like I'm not already spending a ridiculous amount of money trying to get a new computer for running the show. But so we still got the old computer running the show, but then we tied into the show via the new phone. And I'm glad it's coming through good for everybody at home. You know what I'm saying? So that's good. What's happening, Eugene Dolan? The first new member since we got reaccepted back to the monetization program. Thank you very much, Eugene Dolan. Who have I missed? Blues Man for You, what's happening? All right, that guy channel 2, baby. What's happening? Good to see you, Wonky Donkey. Good in the hood. What's up, baby? Welcome to the show. One second here. Oh, I see what it is. It's funny. This thing was popping up on my monitor, so I'm actually got like the StreamYards to the left. The main monitor's got the YouTube, so I can watch the YouTube thing. And then this thing popped up. I'm like, what the heck is that? And it's just YouTube being like, hey, become a member of the channel. I was like, oh, okay. Thanks for the help there, YouTube. Um, it's been a good week. I don't know if anyone has checked out the update video so far, but we shared an update video. We made a little video on, in my humble 2 cents, the best way, sort of from day one, to protect yourselves from anything that's going to propagate in your soil. Okay, and that is introducing beneficial nematodes, man. Beneficial nematodes is the way to go. Microscopic worms, they're going to help your plants. It's going to make it sexy, baby. And that's the way to do it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, beneficial nematodes, I mean, they seem to be quite expensive in this day and age. They used to be a lot cheaper. I mean, it is a better deal to buy the big one. If you get a big, fresh one, it should stay good for about 4 to 6 months. It says on the box it does not require refrigeration. So, I mean, in theory, I mean, you're good to go. I just bought the small one because, again, we're doing a small grow. So we've got, 5 plants on the go. I'm assuming not all of them will go female. Right now, the rate on the Galactic Citrus Shiva, from what I can tell, is kind of a 50-50 on the male to female. You know what I'm saying? The male to female, about a 50-50 on those plants, which is actually exactly what you want to see with something that is a regular bean that's been done properly. That's something that you can utilize for a beautiful thing to even breed your own things with, right? Like that's part of why we release regular beans is we're trying to bring stable genetics back. We're trying to bring things back into the fold, into the international community, which will allow people to be able to have this shit going and be able to be stable and try to, move away from foxtailing, remove away from you fart on it and it hermaphrodites on you. All right. Yeah, no worries, Miss K's Garden. And let me see, am I missing anyone's messages here? Let's take a quick look. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, hey, that guy channel too. Freestyle to your plants. I mean, I've done that for once in a blue moon. I mean, my big thing of what I typically do will be to play where I make them do voices. Puppies. Hey, we're doing a show. Come on now, be good. All right. Sorry about that, everybody. One of those things when you're a single dog dad, and you got your dogs in an apartment, and then they got like big bay windows. They're only on the fourth floor, even though that's the top floor, and they can see all the dogs on the street, and they are like, "Motherfucker, get off my block." You know what I'm saying? We all been there. You know what I'm saying? What's up, the Dividing Sorcerer? Good to see you, my friend. All right. Let me see here. Have I missed anyone's messages? I don't think so. I think we good. All right. All right. Hey! Stop! Sorry for yelling in the show, everybody. It's the only way to get tiny dogs to shut up. You got to be louder than they are. Stop it. It's okay. Thank you for trying to protect the house. It's very sweet of you. Anyway, what's up, CSL RC Lauren? Good to see you, buddy. So also too, not that it matters if anyone cares, and it's okay if nobody does. We got a fun thing to announce. I mean, we did make a little announcement video yesterday too while I was at work, just because I wanted people to be aware of it. Right now on the counter, I believe there'd be probably like a day and 7 or 8 hours left. We wanted to hit it for Cyber Monday, but we didn't really have the coding built into our website to accommodate that. Luckily, big shout out to Luna, our computer programmer who does all of our stuff and builds all of our stuff for our website. Um, they went in and they did it and they set it up so we can actually do a sale for everybody. So we're calling it. It is the Cyber Monday sale that started on a Tuesday late at night, but it's going till Thursday for Friday midnight. So that's like Thursday night, 11:59. When it hit midnight, it's done. But you got a little over a day left. You know what I'm saying? Little over a day left on this sale. Here, we'll click the banner that tells people what that is here. Give me a second. All right. So right now, there's never been a better time to acquire Potsquatch things. I know the holidays are coming up. I know budgets are tight. So I figured, hey, what can we do to try to help? And so we made everything 25% off. It doesn't matter what you buy on the store, everything's 25% off. If you buy 3 packs of beans, you get that fourth for free, basically, how that works. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, if you've been wanting to get yourself a shirt, a hat, a grinder, papers, any of our new genetics or beans that we have released, be it a mixer pack or a 25 pack, that's all on sale. Whether you want some beard oil, you want some CBDs, you know what I'm saying? Um, it's all on sale. 25% off for everybody. There is no purchase minimum to get 25% off. It is just 25% off. It is for the people and for all y'all at home. So we're stoked to offer that for everybody for the holidays too. If you're in the background and your partner's watching this show and you want to get them some Pot Squad stuff, this is the best time to do it. You won't save a few bucks. I know inflation's real. It's funny because typically the most reach outs I get when it comes to around Christmas time over the last number of years has actually been people's partners reaching out like, yo, my partner loves the show. I want to get this for my partner. Can you do it? And so we've already had a few people reach out this year, and we've been putting stuff together for people to offer kind of a present from their partner, but also Uncle Pot Squatch will throw a note or something in there to make it special. That one stuff. Do you sell lime kush seeds? Nope, never heard of lime kush, but so no. Could I develop something that I would call a lime kush that has both a cushy factor and a lime essence? Yes. Lime smell, a lime citrus is a very rare scent. And to be fair, I've never heard of lime kush. So no, we don't sell no lime kush seeds. We don't even have a formal kush released at the moment on the store. We will be developing a kush line for everybody, right? But that takes time, and I'm very anal retentive when it comes to kush. So it got to be right. It's got to be a kush. It ain't no bloody kush. I don't even care if it got kush genetics in it. Unless it come out smelling and smoking like a kush, it ain't no damn kush. I don't even care if it's genetically part kush. It ain't kush. It's got to smell and taste like a kush. It's kind of like just because someone comes from a family of basketball players, unless they can play basketball, I'm not going to call them a basketball player. You know what I'm saying? All right. But all of that's available, everybody. Not that you need to buy anything. Like I said, we never require anyone to buy anything. You don't need to pay for a membership. You don't need to make donations. You don't need to pay to have all the knowledge, to have the things we share, to participate in the community. This is all pro bono. This is for you. But if you do want to help us, like, subscribe, check that shiznit out. The biggest thing you could do is if you don't want to buy anything or you can't, that's cool. Biggest thing you could do, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Okay. Share our videos around the internet. Copy links from our videos that you like and share them to other websites, other platforms, because that really helps us when it comes to the battle we're currently in right now. Okay. When it comes to fighting YouTube's algorithm and trying to get us back on top and get us growing really hard. I will say the subscribership has been growing up hardcore, and that is crazy. And I really appreciate it. Our numbers are all week to week is improving. You know what I'm saying? It's all improving. So I thank you all for standing by us and helping us with that. Sorry, everybody. You know, I'm getting excited for this run. There has been a Potsquatch here who's been watching the show for a number of years. They actually live in my general local vicinity. They don't live in Vancouver, but they live in what is called Greater Vancouver. They live in Greater Vancouver, which is the Tri-Cities. Okay, I believe they live out kind of like the Surrey area or the Coquitlam area. But I've talked about them before. They've been growing out the Galactic Citrus Shiva. They're at about 5 weeks of flower today. I believe they've got it in a fairly small tent. So they got three, and it looks like they've got it in like five at least gallon pots. They're growing out the Galactic Citrus Shiva. They're at 5 weeks of flower, and my God, are they looking good, everybody? I mean, the one thing I was really impressed is when they transplanted from their 1 gallons, okay, to their finishing pots. Like, I mean, the root development was gorgeous, gorgeous root development, which is what I've come to know from this genetic, as well as the Orange Warrior Widow. Um, but these things are blowing up. They've done a great job. They've like perfectly lollipopped it. They've perfectly defoliated it, kept it selective branching. Tight nodal spacing is holding out. Even on the one that stretched a lot on their plants, has not stretched much. The structure on the Galactic Citrus Shiva, everybody, is like that whole sexy tree of life. It's tight, it's short, it's got tight nodes, it's building big, dank, thick, dense buds. That, to be fair, like what I'm noticing with this plant is like it's got like a weird, sexy grapefruit smell. Um, Not like a normal grapefruit, but like a funky grapefruit. Like if it was like a grapefruit and it was high and sexy and funky, that's the smell. That's what it smells. Miss Case Garden, what size of finishing pot? I think theirs is a 5-ish gallon, it looked like to me. Typically for me, depending on the way you're growing, I mean, I usually say 5 gallons is the minimum. Obviously on a 2x4, going with like a 3 gallon finishing pot is perfect. I like to go solo cup, 1 gallon finishing pot. Those three levels, those staggered levels, and letting them root lock in each of those first two pots will really help having a very dense root ball throughout your entire finishing pot, maximizing available space for your plants. And the old idiom, baby, more roots, more fucking fruits. You know what I'm saying? And that is true with your plants. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah, Jeremiah Sanchez. That's right. That looks good. Jeremiah, it was your plants on the Facebook group there that I was like, oh man, those are sexy. That was you, wasn't it? For those of you who don't know who are new here, we do have a Facebook group where you can share your grows, you can hang out with everybody, you can chat, make new friends. As long as you're not a dick fuck or an asshole, you'll be all right. The Potsquatch Growers community on Facebook, everybody, answer the bloody questions. It is a liability. You have to answer the questions so we can let you in. And the rules are simple: no illegal sales. Okay, one, two, don't be a dick. Treat people with respect. Love yourselves. Love each other. And I mean, that's all that's really required. And obviously, respect the admins and moderators when they ask you to do something. But other than that, everybody is welcome. Okay, it's a place for all the pot squatches. Okay, um, but Jeremiah, I believe it was Jeremiah. Jeremiah just had this growth, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, damn. Like, I mean, this plant. I don't. Jeremiah, feel free to type what you were growing there. But these wheat titties, man, they were so frosted. He had this wheat titty that it almost looked like he took brown sugar and coated the actual plant in it. Like it like obviously he didn't. It was the tricks. But I was impressed. I was wholeheartedly impressed. I was like to feel my Potsquatch heart. My goodness gracious me, that looks so good. I was very impressed though. So again, shout out to you, Jeremiah. Hugely impressed with that. Good job on those weed titties, buddy. Oh my goodness gracious me. I'll tell you what. All right, all right, all right. 1 second here, dear. I'm just switching over there to a thing on a thing of the thing. Highly, highly technical things. Take it easy on the language. Nah, we good, man. This is the show. We're age restricted. We're allowed to swear. We're testing the waters, man. And like the fact is, Mudslot, I care about your caring, but at the same time, like you know, there's plenty of YouTube channels that have full monetization that aren't age restricted. That actually, they swear, they talk about sex, they talk about rape, they talk about this. We don't talk about any of that shit. I occasionally say the fuck word, or a few other profanities. So, and the fact is, this is age restricted. It's all age restricted, baby. So it's kind of like, all right, man, YouTube, just get with it. Just get with it, man. And so we're doing that. 1 second here. I'm gonna do a thing. Let me see if I can do something here. I'm still running the show, by the way, everybody. I'm just checking some stuff here on the back end of this. And watch this. I'm gonna screw with YouTube. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go save. No. No. On. Done. Go. Save. Sorry, I'm just playing with settings in the back end because I was like always wondering. I was like, oh no, yeah, yeah. So we're still age restricted on the show. I just turned the monetization on for the live stream itself because I was curious to see what they would do. Um, and it's all good. We're still on the show, but it's simply put, they still age restricted us. So simply put, though, good. It's age restricted. Um, and sorry, I'm just clicking things in the background here. So good. Swearing is okay. There we go. If you're an adult who can't handle a little bit of profanity, this is probably not the channel for you. All right, what's that here, everybody? I'm just switching the main monitor back into the live. And there we go. All right, and we're back. There we go. Ciao to you, Louis Burke. Burke? I don't know if I'm saying last name right, but anyway. All right. 1 second, everybody. I'm just going to grab a beer. All right, all right, all right. So how is everyone's growth going? Who's got what growing? That's my question. Who's growing what right now? You know what I'm saying? That one stuff. Please try to offend me with any word. I don't think it's possible. And that's why I love you, that one stuff. But who's going what right now? I mean, obviously we got Galactic Citrus Shiva going. I mean, the good thing is as you can tell, there's no like giant table behind me anymore. I've been working hard on trying to organize my apartment, find places with stuff, and hide it away, tuck it away, so we can open up floor space, so we can actually maybe fire up a couple more tents. We're getting to a place where I think we're pretty close to where we'll be able to fire up a second tent, and then we're also going to be able to get like a little 2x2 going where we can kind of start, cranking out some new fun beans for everyone, or maybe occasionally, taking things to an F2, F3, F4, eventually trying to get to that cube status with some of them. I've been looking into also too here in Vancouver, even though rent's beyond expensive, trying to see if I can eventually find it within my budget to rent a little place where we can do a little bit more growing, have a slightly larger setup. Haven't found one yet, but I got a lot of friends. So maybe we might be able to get something that we could kind of, grow a little bit more for you, dear. I also got a few friends that got some pretty big old grows going. Some in Van City, mostly, on the outskirts and other cities, the Tri Cities, yeah, or just outside of the Tri Cities up in the Fraser Valley. I've been trying really hard to, convince some of them to let us come in and do a bit of a tour because I think that'd be fun. You know what I mean? Let's go check them out. So that's one of the things we're working on having coming. Brandon the botanist, hopefully will be on the show soon. And this is the guy who claims he invented what we all know as freak show colloquially, but he calls fern mutant or mutant fern, and he said it's his genetic. He developed it. I mean, the guy knows his stuff. I mean, he's a super weed nerd. Um, so my thinking is we get him on show. He tell his story. And said maybe we get the other guy who's claiming he made it on show. We do separate show with Sam, and then maybe for fun, maybe dramas, we bring them both in to have a conversation, and we will be mediators. So they have to treat each other nice, or else it will not go good, and we kick balls out of show. But I think they're both adults. We can have conversation. We can figure out. I think that would be fun for everybody at home. Oh man, thank you very much. That one stuff, much appreciated, my friend. It is always appreciated. Thank you ever so much. Um, and again, it's never expected, never required, but my God, it's very much appreciated. Trying to get things going here for everybody at home. It's been a long journey to try to get the show and the content going again. It's been a long journey trying to get the store open finally. It's been a long journey to get back on track. Hell, and let's be fair, for my own personal mental health, it's been a long journey to not want to fucking off myself. And just like, oh well, it's me, my life sucks. Oh, now I'm like, I'm back, baby. I don't give a shit no more. Let's get it going. Let's get it done. Hey, Irish Squatch Growers. What's up, buddy? Welcome back to the show, everybody. That's our main man, Irish Squatch, the first guy to ever grow out Orange Warrior Widow. Um, Iris Squatch, I remember you were saying on that one, it was coming out with like both a citrusy fruit, but like kind of a spicy, almost garlicky smell. Now that my curiosity is that weird garlicness that you were talking about, because I did not foresee that in the terp profile when we were blending these two realities. So my question to you, Iris Squatch, did that weird garlic nature Okay. Did that persist throughout the flowering period, or was it an earlier thing, or was it a later thing? I mean, that's my curiosity. So if you could share a little bit with everybody at home about that, I'd be curious to see what that is. What that about. You know what I'm saying? Mudswat says, I like skunky weed, bottom line. Well, one of the fun things we will be eventually releasing is kind of like a different differentiated line of different skunk varieties. We're going to release a couple things. Will be me kind of playing around. We're trying to release the closest thing to an original skunk because I've got a few different versions of supposed original skunk in my collection, plus a lot of other old school skunks that were released back in the hood days here in BC. So there's fun things in the pipeline in my brain. Okay, I mean, if I had tons of space, I mean, I could release like 100 strains in probably a couple of years. Now, obviously, they'd be like F1s and F2s. I mean, it takes time to stabilize them, but at least getting those out there for everybody to play with too, right? And that's where releasing F1s, I think, is actually kind of fun. You find two really sexy things to make happen. Also, too, just a big amount of love to you there, buddy. Thank you very much. That one stuff. I just want to say thank you, Brian. Thank you. Um, but sorry, that was that one stuff. But there's so many things that I would love to play with. Yo, Santa, welcome to the show. I hope you're doing well, Alvin. I hope Santa Claus is feeling better. His health has not been great. It's been on and off bad. So I'm hoping it's going all right for you there, Santa. For those of you who don't know our dear friend Alvin, he's I believe in the Facebook group. Maybe yes, maybe no. But he is a master carpenter and he looks like Santa Claus. And basically, he makes a lot of wooden toys and he donates a lot of his time come Christmas time to those in need and to, make the children smile. And he is Mr. Santa Claus. So welcome to the show, Mr. Alvin Mace, Santa Claus himself. All right. Let's go back to what Irish Grows said. It slowed down in weeks 8 and 9, and the sweet citrus took over. You see, that's what I thought. I had a feeling that garlicky nature may have been on the earlier side, but then after the end, sort of those more prevalent citrus notes would have taken through, especially after the finish is happening. It's utilizing all those final sugars. It's incorporating those into the cannabinoid and terpene profiles. You know what I'm saying? So that makes sense. That makes sense. Irish Squatch Growth. That makes sense to me. That makes sense. What's everybody else going? Oh, Miss K's Garden. Did you pop those beans? I think you said in the last show you popped those beans. You popped those beans though, girl. How'd that going? I was an F1, not an S1. Just saying. But yeah, that's one thing I will say, Irish Squatch. There are subtle variations also on the Galactic Citrus Shiva, but like between both the Orange Warrior Widow and the Galactic Citrus Shiva, which are both things that, they had different parts to them. The one consistent part were two very different but strong phenotypes of that old school orange Hindu Kush, okay? And one of the cool things I noticed is both those strains seem to have a beautiful uniformity where we're not having drastic differentiation between the two, but they're actually happily marrying like-minded traits from either parent into a fairly consistent genetic phenotype pool, which is kind of cool. That's one of the things I've been noticing too. I mean, I haven't popped any of the Orange Warrior Widow yet. I've been playing with the GCS just because I like it. And plus, I mean, I've seen the Orange Warrior Widow grown out to fruition now. Now, mind you, I'm seeing the GSC at week 5 as of today. They texted me this morning, which was pretty cool to see. But I want to get my hands on it too and make some plays with it and see what happens, baby. You know what I'm saying? I do like consistency. Consistency's nice. Trippy that it's that early on, to be fair, but so for example, are there any specific videos from anyone who's watching at home right now? Like, is there any specific how-to videos y'all want to see? I can make a video about anything. I've got a running list of things that I want to do for this show. But I'm always happy to kind of accommodate what the people want, you know what I'm saying? So, ooh, yeah, yeah. Irish Squatch, if you get me some of those, I'd love to play with them because also too, I've got a few Afghani things I think left. But if I don't, I got a couple of cool land races that I acquired through some trades that I did with another old school grower. I've got a Johar. I mean, I've got a couple of cool land races. I'm trying to remember what the all of them are. Not from Afghanistan, but from a lot of them from the Middle East though, which is kind of cool. So I'm pretty excited about that. You know what I mean? Alvin Mays, you should be blessed for your craziness. You know, I mean, so far, to be fair, I mean, after all the bullshit I've been through, life is going pretty good, everybody. I've officially booked a big role in this feature film. I'll be off to Costa Rica in February and March. And do not worry, I will still find a way to at least, you know, keep things going here on the channel of like, it might just be kind of live streams from set when I'm not shooting or live streams after I'm shooting and just say, hey, everybody, I'm in Costa Rica. How you doing? Don't worry, we're going to grow a bunch of weed the second I'm back, you know. And we're gonna have Uncle Michael is gonna be taking care of the store, so all of the orders, the store will stay open while we're gone down in Costa Rica. There, it's gonna be a lot of good times. That one stuff. I watched a guy hit a gravity bong out of water ditch on the side of the road and then fell back into it. Good stuff. Okay, so you want me to do that? That one stuff? I don't know if I want to do that. I mean, if that's what you want, I could try. Plus, also too, we called them depth charges as kids. We didn't call them gravity bongs. We called them depth charges back in the day. And man, you know, I never fell down from one of those. Did we already see the ladies today? No, no. We will see them in a bit. One of the things, for example, here's a fun video that I was thinking about making in the next couple of days. Is one, they're ready to transplant. Like they're speaking their language to me. You know, your plants will speak to you. I've always professed that for years to you. Your plants will talk to you, and they're going to tell you what they need. They're going to tell you what is going on. You know what I'm saying? And these plants are telling the Uncle Potsquatch, they like, hey man, we want to be transplanted. And so I was thinking about making a video about talking about like plant language and when our plants and our small starter cups are kind of telling us, please transplant us, we're ready, you know? Um, well, you know, Jeremiah Sanchez, I will be shooting a lot of this movie out in the jungles. I have to be careful in the jungles of Costa Rica because I believe there are many things that can kill me. You know, it's one thing, like, I mean, I am Canadian. I'm familiar with Canadian bush. I can go to Canadian bush and survive, you know. And we got like armor plated tanks that are moose and other things like that, grizzly bears and big old bears and cougars and shit. And I know how to survive that. That I can do. I can deal with that. But I mean, Costa Rica, that's a different jam on the jungle. But I mean, I won't lie to you. I kind of want to go out and see if I can find some, you know, harvest some seeds, bring them back to my hotel room, dry them out, and harvest some seeds to bring home. To be fair, it might be easier for me just to make friends with the locals and acquire seeds that way. We will see. But I mean, I'm not against trying to find some seeds to bring back for us to play with. You know what I'm saying? Like, that'd be cool. I'd be all right with that. You know what I'm saying? But we will see what happens. But I'm excited about that, man. Things are coming together. You know, work's going good. I survived rebuilding my junk. I didn't die earlier this year when the universe tried to kill me again. You know, I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling strong. I'm back to the gym. I'm losing a lot of weight. I'm getting back in shape, getting ready for my nude scene in this movie. I got to be nude in it. So I've been on a strict diet. You know, I still allow myself the occasional beer, and today's a cheat day, so I'm allowed to finally eat gluten again. Whew. You know, when you love gluten, but you got to cut it out. Big shout out to Greg Squatch or Cali Squatch. Thank you for all that you taught me when you used to train my silly, silly, stupid ass. Because I'm basically implementing everything you taught me in terms of my new health regimen of trying to get back in shape for this movie. Um, but yeah, what was the point of that? All right, I'm not dead. Things are going good. You know, movies coming. I've got a bunch of stuff coming from other films too. There's already like 3 other projects we're in talks about hypothetically doing. So things are on the up and up and looking good. Um, yeah, definitely, Miss K. Like, you know, maybe if I get a day off or two, you know, I'm gonna go disappear into the jungle. We'll make some videos with that. All right, everybody. Uncle Port Squatch is here in the jungles of Costa Rica. Let's not get killed and see if we can find anything. Who knows? Maybe we can find some local growers down there and do some interviews too. I mean, right? So it's like just because I'm shooting a feature film, don't mean I can't release content for us and shoot some stuff for the pot squatches too. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be cool. Um, Do I get paid extra for the nude scene? Well, I don't know if it's considered extra. I mean, I'm waiting on the final contract and offer. I'll get paid a decent chunk of change for doing the film. I'm also hopefully getting to produce the credits, so there's a little bit of money there in terms of residuals on top of my actor residuals. But I'm also, it's looking like I'm going to get, on the crew. So I'm going to be doing some, produce the crew work behind the scenes. So there's another paycheck there. So that's good. Basically, I'll get paid a decent chunk of money to do the things that I'm doing. But then I'll also make more money when it does a theater run. I will get a chunk of that money. And when it go to a streaming platform, well, I will get a chunk of that money too. So it's kind of like, yeah, all right. Am I the main character? No. But I am a very large supporting character in this movie. And I'll put it to you this way, without giving away anything, you will go in to see this movie and you will most certainly remember me. It's not going to be me, though. Let's just say the character that I play in this movie is definitely not who I am in real life. It will push me out of my comfort zone considerably, but all right. I mean, that's what we want to do, man. As an actor, you want to be pushed out of your comfort zone. You want to be challenged to do a new thing. You want to be challenged to do something you never done before, right? And that's part of what you want to do. I mean, that one stuff. If they wanted to make me a Batman, I could do that. I guess. I don't think they would ever. I'm not big enough of a name yet to get cool offers like that. This is my first big offer that I've gotten. It's hopefully going to be playing part of my breakout. Plus, it's cool that we go down to like Costa Rica, right? So I might be able to shoot some shit for the channel too on my days off, on my time off. Or like maybe I'm like working in the movie, we shooting in the jungle. I'm like, oh, that's a weed titty plant. I'm just gonna snip that bitch now, throw it in my bag, see what happens. See if we find some seeds or anything. Am I the antagonist? I could be described as one of the antagonists, but I can't say too much. NDAs and contracts and whatnot. But I will be remembered. What's up? Oh, there's some old school pot squatches coming in the hizzy too. We got Gaz in 76 up in the hizzy. Big shout out to the Gaz man. You know what I'm saying? We grown some of his genetics on the channel. There's variations of some of the stuff we gained from him. We utilized in making some of the new genetics we released. Also, he's been also fighting for the rights of the weed titty people in New Zealand. It's looking like, he moving forward, moving on. He's gonna be on a farm soon, growing weed titties, developing weed titties, as well as teaching youth how to grow in an attempt to give them an optional or a different option, becoming a gangbanger dipshit like the mongrel mob idiots. That's basically the main gang in New Zealand, by the way, everybody. Arguably the number one responsible reason why methamphetamines and other hard drugs are killing people and addiction is spreading rampant in the Shire. Okay. So Gaza Squatch, Kiwi Squatch are gonna be doing some good work. Not only, representing himself, representing his brand, representing our brand, representing Wheat Titties all over the world. He's gonna be helping the young people get up in it. And then we got our boy Texas Squatch, the biggest, sexiest redneck down in Texas that's in the Potsquatch Growers Army. Welcome to the show, baby. Welcome to the show. All right, all right, all right, yo. All right. 1 second here. What am I doing? Oh, I did something wrong. Bear with me, everybody. I am clicking stuff. There we go. There we go. Uh, Mud swat, my hash turned out amazing. Most of it's gone now. There's very, very little left. Oh, everybody, Texas Squatch out on a hunting trip. He's going deer hunting. So he's out in a deer stand out in the middle of nowhere with a rifle, sitting there talking to us, ready to, go grocery shopping. All right, let me see if I'm missing anything here. We're good, by the way, guys. How you doing, buddy? When do you move to the farm so we can have you on the show, buddy? When you coming on the show there, Gaz? When you coming on the show, baby? Just reading here, by the way, everybody. Just reading everybody's comments. Dude, rock pile tanks. That sounds sexy. I grow that. Is it like a straight garlic scent to it? Or is it like garlic but sweet? Hell yeah, Fifth Element cannabis production. I've heard of cement shoes. I do not possess cement shoes in my collection. However, I do have Holy Grail, and I have like three or four different variations of a Bruce Banner. So I got two out of the three of them. Those. And I've heard of cement shoes. I just never grown it or had it, but I'm aware of it though. That's one I'm aware of at least. Rock Pile Tank says, yeah, it smells like garlic garbage. Well, that's some funky smelling shit then, man. Hell, maybe we should make that one to have sex with the Orange Warrior Widow, given its prevalency of having garlicness, and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right. Okay, cool. Well, rock pile tanks. Maybe we should, get that, but your strain to have sex with my strain that got some garlic action to it, and see what it come out. It'll be citrus garlic garbage maybe afterwards. You never know. Hell yeah, rock pile tanks. That sounds sexy. Hell yeah, Gaz are 76. So once you're on the farm though, you'll come on the show, right, Gaz? Hey, thank you very much, Wild. A big shout out to anyone who's joined the show that's on the show that wasn't here earlier. Welcome to the show. Good to be back. Good to see all y'all. Mudswat says, I want to create a screen and call it Snap Your Mama. Hey man, go for it, Mudswat. Now my question is though, think very carefully what you're going to use to create that strain to make it justifiable for the name. Because I think when we name our cannabis, it shouldn't just be a name we pick out of nowhere. It should be justifiable somehow. One second here, everybody. I'm just reading people's comments. Bear with me. I just got to scroll up a bit. Fifth Element, are you making reference to the cement shoes? Because that would make sense with the name. Gazers 76, there's not internet there, so we'll have to be at the house. Yeah, I feel you, but Gazers, strongly recommend to the people at the new company you'll be working with. You need to tell them to get Starlink, man. Starlink is available anywhere in the world. You can get high bit rate internet anywhere. Okay, it is a little expensive to get the initial tech, but as this world is, and for the movement and the rights of the people of the Kiwi Nation, man, I think for you guys to share what you're doing is going to be really important to both grow the company, grow the brand, and build awareness of the importance of what you're doing. So investing for the company that you're going to be working for, pitch them, dude, get Starlink, man. Because then Starlink, we can actually do shit out in the outdoor grows. We can go for, a walk with Gaz. We could do a live show where we go on a live tour. We're all going to get to walk around with you outside there in the green belt of New Zealand, your equivalent of the Humboldt County, shall we say. And be sexy, man. I think that'd be fun. I don't know about all the pot squatches at home, but I think a lot of people would be into watching that. It could be mud swap, but it depends on which kush you use too, right? Like I mean, just make sure you put that those thoughts into it. You know what I'm saying, baby? Oh, and a fun announcement for everybody watching at home. So we actually had an order come in through New Zealand. So I'm sitting here going, oh man, New Zealand. New Zealand's hard to ship to. you know, even though medical's legal, and there's a lot of companies that are now legal to grow. So, for example, when Gazzers goes and works at this company, my company can send him beans, and it's fully legal in New Zealand. The average Kiwi, though, sadly, is still being persecuted within the country of New Zealand. And the way me and Gazzers used to hook each other up with stuff was through boxes of Lego. But then the silly, dirty dipshits who sell methamphetamines started using our trick, and then well, the Lego boxes were no longer an option. So I dusted off. I was sitting there. I was sitting there for about a week, week and a half before I sent out this thing to New Zealand. I was like, man, how am I going to get this through? And I came up with the most brilliant way. Well, I didn't really come up with it. I learned this one years ago. I dusted off a way of sending it from my early days that I learned from back in the hood days, back in the very, very illegal days, you know? And it is with humble honor and truth that I share to you that I got a message this morning at about 6:32 a.m. And it went through, baby. So if you're in Australia, if you're in New Zealand, if you're in countries where they don't like you to have rights, we stand with you. And our new way of doing it will get through. And it's not going to cost you extra money either. That's right. It's not going to cost you extra money because that is our guarantee to you. Hey, what's up? Game with JC Joyce. Joyce, you're that guy Channel Two's daughter, right? Girl, it's good to see you. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute. Hello. Good to see you, Joyce. Hello. Uh Awesome. Gazza 76, man. I'd love to. I mean, you guys do your own story, but I'd love to have you and Kevin Jodry participate on a release that'll be released in North America and to Europe through our content if you guys are into it. Together we stand, divided we fall, son. Together we stand, divided we fall. And I'd love to help you guys get your story out there too. So Gaz, let's have a chat quickly after the show, maybe, and we can figure that one. Um, Rock pile tents. Yeah, no. Now, do you mean the first one or the second one? Because we had two different labs that we were doing those big full room styles. Um, I remember rough numbers for both of those on different runs. So if you give me a bit more information, uh, rock pile tanks, then we could definitely talk about some of those rough numbers. Oh yeah, me too. Irish Scotch Grows. I dusted off the old school one, and it took me a while to find the things that do it, but it worked, man. Orange buckets, tomato cages. So more than likely, you're referencing the original Lab 2 that we then did. Typically on that one, we were doing anywhere from 2 to 4 a light. I think we hit 4 a light on one. Um, Usually it was anywhere from a 2.5 to like a 3.2 was like a strong trust on that one. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, for those just tuning in though, uh, big sale happening on the Potsquatch Growers website. 25% off everything. Doesn't matter where you is in the world. If you want to order beans, we'll send it to you. If you order on the website, if you go into a country that's questionable, we'll still get it there. A lot of seed companies ain't doing it, and that's cool. I get it. I think you have rights though, and I'm willing to stand up for them. So we'll send them to you. Yeah, I'm talking pounds per light. Rock pile tanks. The Squatch lights are, I think, pulling roughly like an actual wattage at the wall, like a 505 to a 550 max. It's the 480 Meanwell that's running those. But like the 480 isn't its max draw. It's kind of a marketing gimmick. It goes a little bit higher than that. So if you crank them to max, and I know how Brett was always like, no, don't tell people to crank their lights to max. I said, dude, but that's how I do it, man. I crank my shit all the way, ride hard, go home, go big or go home, right? Like that's just the way to do it. But yeah, that one stuff. What do you have to hang the lights? Um, well, on our racks, basically, there's just holes that you put hangers through. On our original squash, which we did into the baking sheets, which I still actually prefer to the racks. I still love the original version. Well, the updated original version we did. Um, those have little kind of O brackets that are bolted in, and then you can just clip your little hangers on, and then hang them for whatever you got in your hood, whether it's in a tent or in a room. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to eventually release our own version of hangers or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, there's no point really. Like, I mean, our sales aren't high enough at the moment to release like our own light hangers. I think once we get things going in the next, 6 to 12 months, and the brand is building again, and the company's building again, and the channel's building again, and our numbers keep going the way they're going, we can look into expanding things. But right now, our main thing that we're focusing on is just selling what we've released and what we've done, and then releasing amazing content for people consistently again, and then trying to pay my rent and pay my power bills and paying our company bills, and that's kind of what we focusing on at the moment. Hey, Miss K's Garden, much love, sister. Have a beautiful evening. Thank you for tuning into the show today. It's always appreciated, and I love you. And keep cranking out the awesome content. I can't wait to see you rocking some Potsquatch genetics on your channel. I'm pretty stoked. Everybody, if you haven't checked out Miss K's Garden, go check it out. She just pulled down some plants. They were very tight, kind of tiny, but like sexy tiny though. Tight nodes, sweet little plants. I just watched a video of pulling them down, and they were looking good. Miss K's Garden, looking very good. And also too, with that style of what you were doing, I think it'll go perfect with some of that GCS that we released and that you were probably going to be playing with. Game with JC. How much is the website? I got $5, no down payment. The website, we hand coded and developed our own website and our own payment portal, hosted on our own private servers and our own encodings. It cost me over $15,000, 10 to 15 grand. Plus, it cost me to operate just the store for basic things in terms of licensing and other things. We're dropping just under $200 a month on that. So there was the development cost to develop our own software, which we are more secure than government websites. Okay, everybody, our shit is tied down hardcore. Brono 81100. Bull crap. Not bull crap. You want me to send you the invoices, baby? I'll send them to you. It's expensive when you hire someone who's good at what they do to build everything from the ground up there, Muffin. That's called reality. No, I ain't full of shit, bro. Fucking dude, my bank account attests to it. Brono 81100. Go suck a dick. It's fucking exactly what it costs. And guess what? We are one of the most secure websites on the internet. I can attest to that because I've even had the Russian and Chinese government trying to get through our shit. We get attacked all the time. Nobody gets past level one. It costs money to build shit from scratch. And guess what? I'm sorry. Maybe you like paying people pennies on the dollar of what they're worth when they're working hard for you. I pay people good money to do good work. I value my computer people, and I'm going to pay them what they're worth. Sorry that you're a cheap ass. What's up, Red Claws? Good to see you, man. We ain't got no GoDaddy website or some Shopify bullshit. We built our own thing. We built our own payment portal. We built everything from the ground up. Deal with it, Cupcake. 1 second, everybody. But you sell nothing, so you make nothing, King. We sell lots of things. Store's paying for itself now, finally. You're not wrong. It took us a long time. I spent money every month out of my personal pocket to keep the store open when we weren't able to actually sell anything for a long time. You're not wrong. You're totally right on that, Bruno. I will give you that. But that's called being you, fighting hard for your dream, fighting hard for what you want to do for your people, and never giving up. Then you finally open up for business again. That's the thing. That's called reality. That's called never giving up on your people. That's never giving up on your own dreams, never giving up on your testament, your promise to everybody for over 7 years, to always stand by them and always do your best to do the best you can. That's called a brand you can trust. That's called building a company. Hey, Jansen, no, just a little troll, little dipshit. To be fair, I like it. I like being passionate. Let's be fair. You know, let the haters hate, baby. When they hate, you're doing something right. You know what I'm saying? It ain't got no haters. You're doing something wrong. I'll be right back, everybody. Thank you for getting on top of that, by the way, Irish. I appreciate it, son. Donkation. But yeah, no. So everybody, big sales on now. You got another day and like 6 or 7 hours. Uh, if you go on the website, it actually has like a countdown on the main page. Now, I will say to those of you at home, our website might seem confusing. Again, it is a little confusing at the moment. Yes, these are suspenders. um, right now, when you go to the website, okay. Well, here I'm gonna pull up the website right now so I can tell you exactly what to do. Here, I'm gonna go to the website. Actually, I might be able to show everybody. Seal.com. There we go. I'm just pulling up the website for everybody. Actually, this might be easier than I thought. Um, there we go. Oh, it's an hour, 1 day, 8 hours, 8 minutes, and 48 seconds right now on the sale still. Let's go cam. Nope, that turns the camera off. How do we do settings? Let's go to settings. Let's go to settings. Let's go to camera. Let's go to the front. We gotta change the camera now. Let's not let me do nothing. All right, I might not be able to do this as easily as I thought, but that's all right. So here, I'm just going to do this. So everybody, here's the website. There's the countdown. Okay. You go up to the right-hand corner here. Okay. You're going to click shop. Click shop. Okay. Now, boom. There you go. Stickers, papers, grinders, shirts. There we go. Beard oils and stuff. Okay. So you just go click shop, and that's where you're going to find everything available for you there. Okay. So that's how you do it. It's a little confusing, I know. But it's, again, one of those things that over time, we work on it. We try to make it as sexy as we can. We go from there. You know what I'm saying? All right. Hey, sounds good, Irish Squatch. I'll talk to you soon. Saul Stanley, make sure on the notifications clickery dippery do on the YouTube that you've got to click to all notifications. I have noticed that. What's up, Tom Dobbs, and anyone who's just joining us, welcome to the show. I've noticed that often, even if you click all notifications, sometimes it don't always work. So, um, you know, what you can do is go in and periodically make sure you've got clicked all notifications set up, and make sure you're signed into your YouTube account, because again, we are an adult channel, so you have to be proving you're an adult to YouTube in order to show up. Okay, but that's the best way to do it. Jansen Dennis, colder weather does not fuck up seeds necessarily at all. When I store seeds long term, I store them typically in the freezer. Often these days, though, the real trick is not to have too many temperature shifts, right? So think of Mother Nature, though, right? If seeds got fucked up by extreme cold all the time, Mother Nature would die, right? Like seeds get produced 1 year, the plant drops, rots, they don't germinate, freezes. If they survive the depths of winter, they come back and boom, they hit us hard with new plants. So no, they'd be good, man. Light, heat, these are the things that'll damage your seeds, your genetic stock more than anything. If you look at like the ancient Egyptians and canopic jars, where seeds were stored in certain old school canopic style jars, canopic jars obviously being for all the organs, right? But they would store seeds in similar styles of jars in crypts in Egypt. The temperature never deviates really where these things were found. And then they would have beans that were like 6,000 plus years old and they still germinated. So, Mother Nature, she crazy. She's a pretty impressive lady. Tom Dobbs, how much is an ounce of the top tier ounce in Canada? 370 pound in the UK. I'll hook you up for $100 if you're in Van City. I mean, if you go to a government store, Yeah, that's not top tier. Government garbage sucks. But if you know someone in the know, if you know a grower in Canada, typically for an ounce of the good, it's going to be like 100 to 140 bucks, Canadian. So like not much pounds in terms of a colloquial exchange rate. So no, it's not expensive here, man. Which in many senses has been hard from a lot of the gray zone people fight for the rights of the little farmer because most of us regular people, we can't afford all of this government red tape and bullshit. And then also a lot of the rules they impose in terms of legal grows actually causes us to have to destroy like irradiating things and doing this kind of crap. It sucks. It's a bloody plant. We should be able to like grow our shit, take it to a place, have it tested safe, and then get like a sticker, a tag put on it. We should be able to sell it any way we want. It's a plant. Take it to a farmer's market. Good to go. But yeah, so simply put, though, no, cannabis is very affordable here. It's why we don't really, like originally as a company, we were like, we're gonna sell weed, and we're gonna get a legal license, and we're gonna do this, and this is what we're gonna do for the company. This is many years ago, and then we realized one, there's no way in hell we can afford the millions of dollars that it will take for us to become a legal flour producer, and then there's no money in flour anymore. And it's kind of killed sort of the gray zone scene too, right? So that's where we should have shifted. We were like, well, then we'll produce genetics, we'll produce things that are adjacent to cannabis production as a way for us to be a company, keep basic revenues flowing so we can start building things and standing by the people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we do have loonies and toonies. That is the thing. That one stuff. I got some toonies in my pocket. Everybody, this is a toonie. This is a toonie. Whoop. It is worth $2 in Kanaja. This is a toonie. And then we got these other cool toonies that were. I like them because of the way they look, not because of what they represent. But then we released kind of these gothic toonies. They're like black. That was for the death of the queen. Still worth only $2. I just keep them and don't spend them because I think they're cool looking. Don't necessarily like the queen, and Charles ain't my king. He's just an old prick. But I like the toonies. Tom Dodds says nobody's curing weed in England anymore. Well, then that must mean that most of the smoke in England sucks. And I'm not trying to be mean by saying that, but why would you work so hard to properly grow, properly dry something, and then not respect arguably one of the most important steps of producing top tier cannabis? It's called the cure, baby. Some strains require over 6 months to properly cure. Some strains do best when doing a 6 to 12 month cold cure. Um, the cure is just as important, if not more important, than many other parts of your grow. Hey, that one stuff, if you into that and that's where you happy, I say I respect your flavor and your choice. I would say for me personally, as a cannabis professional, as a cannabis enthusiast, as a cannabis lover, that is not for me. The only times I smoke uncured cannabis is when I take a crop down, it's done drying. I will smoke a little bit of it to be like, this is where we're at before we go into curing. But then I'm gonna cure that shit, and then I can watch and map out, and that's gonna give me like kind of milestone points to watch out for while I'm watching how this shit all develops and goes. Yeah, see, Dale Skill G, I mean, in Vancouver, in BC especially, if you show up with weed with seeds in it, it's worth nothing, and people will laugh you out of any room. Sensimilla is a big deal. Sansamilla, the whole conceptual idea of Sansamilla cannabis was really first developed in BC in the late 60s, early 70s when we had our indoor grow explosion, which is what led us to being the world leaders of weed production. Not to say there's not amazing growers everywhere now, but back in the hood days and, BC Bud and the name of that, right? That's what we're referencing historically speaking. But, Sensimilla cannabis is the only way to go. And if you don't go Sensimilla, well, you get laughed out of a room here. Sansamilla. That's right. Sansamilla cannabis without seed. False seed pod stacking to make your weed titty buds. Well, probably. I mean, it already does in the right areas, mud swat. Like, there's a lot of stuff out there. Sansamilla cannabis. I'm also putting weird accents to everything. Like, I play with words. You should know that by now, that one stuff. You've been watching me for a number of years. Come on now. Excuse me. Carbonation. But yes, so anyway, Sansamilla cannabis. If you show up with stuff with seed, though, like, the problem with cannabis that's gone into seed is very early on in the bud's formation. Okay, a lot of the plant's energy then shifted to producing the seed rather than producing cannabinoids, terpenes, and flavonoids, and producing flour. So when you got a lot of seeds in there, it's not really desirable. Plus, if even if you've got a few of those false seed pods, or well, they're not false when it's got seed, but the husks from the seed pod, right? It's this hard, bitter. It'll add a harsh smoke, a hard thing to your actual toking. So it's just not really desirable, frankly. You find a couple of seeds, not a huge, huge deal. Like, I mean, back in my childhood, that was kind of a thing sometimes, but you know. Saul Stanley, yep, I've done hydroponics, aquaponics, aeroponics, all the ponics. I've played around with all the different types of things. And as someone who's done everything for the most part, I always keep coming back to old school. I love playing in dirt. That's my happy place. I like growing in dirt. I'm a dirty boy. I like to play in the dirt. But yes, I have played around with all of those things. Saul Stanley. I will say when you're doing a hydroponic setup, you can get great results. I still don't feel that even a properly executed hydro unit does as good as dirt. I prefer the medicine that comes from growing in dirt. It's the way it was intended to be. But I will say to the newer growers at home, be very, very, very careful because simply put, um, it's finicky, right? Like it's not just daily gardening. It's like throughout the day of monitoring your systems, monitoring your levels in your tanks and everything. And it's just you gotta watch and clean, sterile environment is of the utmost importance too. Yes, I have not done the potato experiment, but that is one of the things I'd like to do. The great grand potato experiment is something that I've been contemplating for quite some time, and I'm not really at a place to do it yet, but we're close. We're close. Like once I get all of the regular tents set up and all of the regular things going and getting the numbers slightly better, I can then afford to have time to do some of my more fun, stupid, weird ideas for YouTube videos and experiments. Yes, Tom Dobbs. I have dealt with spider mites. I've dealt with thrips. I've dealt with russet mites. I've dealt with fungus gnats. I've dealt with mold. Never had PM, but I've dealt with mold. Definitely had some mold happen occasionally, and that was one time when it was before I really registered how bad at times, especially at lights off, the relative humidity was spiking in that lab two, where we had kind of the partially renovated garage, and then we had basically like a garage door at the end, and then the amount of rain through that green belt, the Fraser Valley where we lived, there was so much moisture outside that it really spiked the ambient relative humidity in our space. That's when we went and bought that 70 pint dehumidifier. And then started just running it into the sink there with the drain off. If you go back to the old videos, you'll find exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I've dealt with mold occasionally. Yeah, and that's where watching our environments, especially as indoor growers, and dialing our shit in and monitoring that is of the utmost importance. No, I don't feel you, Dale Sciochi. I mean, I won't lie to you. Some of the greatest weed I've ever grown did come from a bag seed, though, right? So, like, you never know what you're gonna get. Like, bag seeds can be these surprising, fun little things. Even if it's like a bag seed that's like a weird preemie. Like, I've grown some dank shit over the years out of random preemie bag seed. So, I'm never gonna hate on bag seeds. I'm gonna hate on bringing a seeded product and calling it a trips or a quad because it's not. Um, but just remember that bag seed in and of itself sometimes some good dank shit, baby. Like remember that. That's a legitimate statement. Um, that is true. I do not keep roaches. I throw them out. I haven't kept roaches probably in over 6 years. I would say though, have I done it all? No. Have I done most of the major mainstream things? Yes. Are there a lot of other experiments I would love to do if I had more space and time to really delve into my weird lunacy of growing? Oh yeah. But I got the basic bases covered quite comfortably, and I will put myself up. If I had the budget I wanted and the time I wanted and the space I wanted, I will put myself up against any grower in the world. Not saying I will win, but I hold my own. I will hold my own. And I definitely see some cannabis cups in the future for Uncle Potsquatch, if such things still even exist by the time we get there. Because sadly, a lot of the cannabis cups they were built out of the gray zone and the black zone, call it what you will, of the industry, and many of them are dying. Um, Actually, I should reach out to the Saskatoon Medicinal Harvest Cup to see if they're ever going to do one more. They might do one more. They might not. And if they do, Chandler Bing, one more, then I definitely would love to get something together to kind of throw it that way. Another cup here in Canada I love to do. I think it might be done though. Is the Unicorn Cup? I don't know if that one's happening again either. So like all these great cannabis cups in Canada that were these things, they're all kind of going the way of the dinosaur. That one stuff, I feel you. I mean, when we were kids, we thought that way, but in my circles, keeping a roach, it's like being a kid again. And I'm not trying to be rude to those who keep the roaches. It's not like that. It's just the world in which I live, which is Vancouver, BC, and BC. And we don't keep no roaches, most of us. Like when we get to a certain level and a certain way of things, like you don't need to keep a roach. Like I mean, that doesn't mean like I'll put a joint out and I'll keep that. Like I'll smoke a half joint, right? But like if I got a roach, like even like that, I'm like, yeah, to the homies. That's crazy, bro. Like I spike cannabis, that's ridiculous in Ontario, bro. Like you guys have gotten even cheaper than we are. I mean, we've held true at $100 an ounce here, 100 to 140 for the good. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, I think it should not go any lower than that, or your local plug is going to go out of business. And I think that people who are the true cannabis growers, which aren't the legal growers, are the big growers. They're the mom and pop operations. They're the craft growers. They're the local plugs. They're the people who love cannabis and on a small scale are producing truly divine cannabis. Boutique cannabis is what is real cannabis in my mind. Um, I wish it wasn't so cheap. I wish these people who put their hearts and souls into things could get slightly more. I mean, I think it's great for having for the consumer a great price bracket. That's important too. I think there's got to be a happy medium between those two worlds, though. Never tried greenhouse seeds, and I don't know who Arjun Roscoe is. Again, I don't really stay up with most colloquial breeders or growers because again, I don't like most modern genetics. I find a majority of what's available for most people a fragmented, improperly produced silliness. It's part of why we've released what we release and what we do. And those who are my friends and people within the industry I respect are a very similar mind to myself. No opinion. No opinion, because one, I think I may have heard of greenhouse seeds, but I've never tried them. I have no idea who Arjun Roscoe is. Maybe he's great. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Never, don't know. I'm just focusing on what we're doing. Tom Dobbs says he started White Widow. Well, I respect the original White Widow strain. What would be my first experience of White Widow? I mean, obviously we had it here in Canada. Probably the first time I tried White Widow though was over in Amsterdam, back at the age of like 15 or 16. Yeah, it was dank. Sat Dom though. Um, I always found White Widow kind of overrated. And to my understanding though, Arjun did not create White Widow. It was actually Shanti Bubba who created White Widow. And Shanti Bubba now calls it Black Widow because it was his work. And if that's the name of Shanti Bubba, then I have a huge amount of respect for him, and then I'm just being ignoramus to his actual name. If Gazzers is still here, he can chirp in on this one. So if Arjun Roscoe is the same guy as Shanti Bubba, a huge amount of respect. If he's not Shanti Bubba, he didn't do White Widow, to my understanding of cannabis history. But that's my 2 cents and my understanding. See, this is where it gets interesting in the cannabis world, and it gets interesting in strain history, right? Because so much of our history as cannabis people, so much of our industry is, and hey, shout out to indigenous people, right? It's an oral history because for so many years we were hiding away, hiding what we did. Not even like hell, I didn't even release my face for years on YouTube, right? Like, um, we've had to be so cloak and dagger, so under key that the only way that these types of stories, these historical points or claims get passed is through an oral tradition. You know what I'm saying? So, but right, think of telephone, right? Things get convoluted and switched around, and that's where it gets really hard to kind of pin down exact origin stories sometimes. You know what I mean? I think one of the interesting things we see, at least colloquially now, like for example, my videos will be up on the internet forever. So Galactic Citrus Shiva, things that I develop, right? Like there will be a historical record to their development, to their release, that 100 years from now, if we haven't blown ourselves up and the internet still exists, you can go back and trace these kind of things. Where it's still oral, it's now no, it's written down oral, right? So I'm speaking orally to you, but it's still a video log in a sense of certain points, developments, right? So that I find interesting, right? So it'll be interesting to see what the next 100 years look like. I mean, if I have my way, I'll still be around in 100 years, and I'll be this old wrinkled curmudgeon dipshit going like, "Oh man, look at what happened with all his things," you know. But we'll see what happens, my friends. We'll see what happens. Tom Dobbs, what are my favorite strains? I have many favorite strains. Specially, I'm an indica guy. Um, Within a subsect of the indica realities, I'm a Kush guy. I love Kushes, a true Kush that smell and taste cushy. Things that aren't Kush that I love. I love old school bubblegum. Old school bubblegum indica, one of the first things we ever grew on the channel. Love that. Old school blueberry indica, love that. Love a proper true purple Kush. I love, even though it's sat, very saddy. I love Vancouver Island Godbud. I love a proper cheese. I love a proper cheese. Kind of a newer age Kush that was developed that I always fell in love with was King's Kush. Huge fan of King's Kush. Was very impressed with it. Wasn't a great yielder, but loved the general uniformity of the buds that it did produce, and I did love the taste and smell and hit of the smoke. I'm a big fan of Master Kush, Ultra Master Kush, or Master Kush Ultra MKU. Not as much of a fan, funnily enough. Looks better than the original Master, but no, Master's where it's at. Um, Love old school Northern Lights, 1 through 12, probably 4 and 5, and maybe 2 would be my favorite of the originals. What are other things that I've loved? The Chush, which I've talked about on the channel, and it was like I never knew what it was. It was Kush. It was definitely cushy. It was spicy, cushy, and it came in a number of different phenotypes and variations over the years. And it just came from these Chinese dudes that we used to grab from. They didn't really speak much English, and they could never really tell us what it was. So we were just like, well, we'll call it Chush because it's definitely a Kush. Like it's meeting those Kush notes, and they're Chinese, so we called it Chush. So the old school Chush was something I loved back in the hood days. Um, what are other things that I've really enjoyed? I love Tuna Kush. Tuna Kush is a big one. Um, I mean, I have respect for the old school skunk. I've it's never really been my huge cup of tea, but I have respect for it, shall we say. Juicy fruit back in the day, there's a big one from before Kush took over. I love juicy fruit in the hood days. Blueberry Yum Yum, blueberry muffin, those were always really good. Um, I only ever got to try Kootenai Gold once or twice. I'd love to get my hands on that to try to actually grow it, because it still to this day it's a true highest THC saturation content ever recorded on a plant naturally. Do I like hazes? No. I find them finicky. I find them far too long to grow. Even Neville and Shanti Bubba will admit they never got it right. They never were able to finish it to a point where it was finished. I know a lot of the old Dutch guys were like, "Oh, Haze is the best. Haze is the best." No, Haze is fucking wank. I don't like Haze. I respect the Haze world, but it's not for me as a smoker. It's not something that I'm gonna want to grow for myself. I would be happy to produce it for others, but not for myself. Gorilla Glue, love the historical story of the accidental hermaphroditic nature. I respect its weird funk. I respect its strength. I don't really like it though. Like for my personal taste on it, nah, not really for me. I get why it's so popular, and I will validate its popularity. It's just not personally for me. Do you know what I mean? I think it's just people liking stuff, Daleski, and it just kind of shoots through. It's the new YouTube. I don't quite get it either, but yeah. Um, Texada Time Warp, classic from Texada Island in BC. Big fan of that. Was a big fan of Texada Time Warp back in the day. It's been a long time since I've seen a real one. It's one of those strains that have kind of gone the way of the dinosaur. Where I didn't necessarily love White Rhino or White Widow, I loved White Rhino, which was the Canadian, a Canadian development that was joining the family. Canadian White Russian was another great reworking of the White Widow genetic family, developed here in Canada. I was a fan of that one. I would still say I like White Rhino above Canadian White Russian. Um, blue cheese, a proper blue cheese. That one make my horn. It smells good. It tastes good. It's so different and weird. Oh, obviously, not to toot my own horn. Probably, arguably, one of the greatest marijuanas I've ever smoked would be one of my own strains, Sasquatch. We grew it a lot back in the early days of the channel. Um, Not to toot my own horn. One of the greatest things that I ever did screwing around that I was really impressed by was with this one super mother of a Master Kush by Northern Lights, number 4, I believe it was. And this thing was just like at 5.5 weeks with one high stress train, just snapped the top once, did very little of this plant, had 18 or 19 top coals the size of my forearm. From a yieldability, speed of flowering, and development, I was blown away by that plant. That thing rocked my brain. You know, that was gangster and sexy as fuck. I can get bored on that statement, that one stuff. You know, anything weird, different, or new or trippy, I definitely get. That's something that gets right up on my thing. Even if I'm like not a fan of it for my personal smoke, I'll still love and respect it for its weirdness. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tom Dobbs, Green Crack was good. Again, too satty for my taste, and it never had a full taste to it. I would say Eugene Dolan. If you say I miss H, I'm assuming you mean hash plant. Hash plant has to be one of my top 3 favorite strains of all time. A true hash plant was amazing. Arguably one of the coolest, sexiest, tastiest, oddest, wonderfulest weeds that ever walked the planet. If I could smoke a true hash plant every day, I would. Um, it is just a flavor, a taste, a hit, a reality, an experience that to me is one of the most beautiful cannabis variations that have ever graced the planet with its existence, simply put. Let's not lie to ourselves. That's just my reality on it and how I feel. What's up, grown up bro? It's good to see you, buddy. Jansen, Dennis says Jamaican lion hits all right notes, but that was 20 years ago. I never had Jamaican lion. I mean, I've had a lot of different variations that were always just called Jamaican. I've got a few different variations of Jamaican in my collection. Probably the coolest one, I've never grown it, and it could be shit, but I mean, it was gifted to me by uh, 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 a person who we had a falling out. And I'll admit it was over COVID. We had different ideas. He kind of went down a rabbit hole of extreme conspiracy theories related to things, and I just didn't see eye to eye with him, and we got into a lot of arguments over that. So he did reach out recently, and by recently I mean 8 months ago. I didn't email back, I'll own that. But he said some things to me about my separation, taking the side of my ex, and I'm like, bro, don't talk about shit. You have no idea what you're talking about. So I didn't respond. A shout out to my boys, Andrew. Andrew, if you're watching at home, Andrew Musgraves, buddy, I still love you. Like, I mean, there's just certain things that you and I should not talk about, I guess. And I do miss you. I've actually been thinking for some time to reach out to you and see if we could talk again. But he sent me some old school beans from like a bajillion years ago. He got out of some brickweed in Scotland that came out of Jamaica. So I've got a small collection of those that he sent me, and I hold them in high regard. They're stored in my vault. And I've been wanting to for a long time to do some play with those and see what those do. What's up, WB Growers? Good to see you, buddy. But again, Andy, Andrew, fuck our different ideas. That's allowed. We're allowed to have different opinions on things. Just don't speak about what you don't know when it comes to my separation. We can have a man-to-man conversation about what really happened. And when you know the true story, you wouldn't have said what you did in the email, which is what caused me not to respond back to you. But just know I still think about you and care about you, buddy. And shout out and love back to Scotland to you. I'm not a big haze guy, Dale Skog. Yeah, it does things. I just think it's one of those strains. Like there's many strains that I've always talked about feeling that it's vastly overrated. I don't understand the huge allure to it, and I'm the same way. Eric Grant's artistry, that is actually something like funnily, even when I was talking about King's Kush in this show a little bit earlier, it was something in my brain. I was like, I would like to do that. And I've actually been quietly thinking in the back of my head while I've been talking to all of you, like, I've got just enough of King's Kush to cross it to something else. And I'm not sure what it would be. I mean, for a fun idea, I've got King Tut. We could cross it to a King Tut. But I don't know. I might want to fuck around with it a bit more. That would make more sense. Thank you very much, WB Growers. They're coming along. I mean, they're. I have heard of Cali Mist actually, Tom Dobbs. I've smoked Cali Mist. Never grown it. Wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. I feel the Cali Mist I tried probably would be better grown by a different grower. Because that's the thing you got to remember, everybody. It's not just the genetic. The grower plays almost as much of a role as your genetics do in terms of the proper finish of something. In basic weed, it doesn't. But when we talk about upper echelon production, we're talking about boutique true. We're talking about a proper trips or a quad. Um, the approach, the respect, the dance, the love with that genetic itself is almost as much the grower as it is the genetic. I'll put it at 55-45 in terms of the percentage of the finish. So the Cali Mist I've tried, I think, could have been better if grown differently, but I respected the genetic and I saw potential in it to be something truly special. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Um, Yeah, WB growers, they're desperate. They're in desperate need of a transplant. I gave them their first feed today. Everybody, I gave them a little a feed today. I'm gonna let them have a day or two to incorporate that into their realities, and then we're gonna probably Thursday. Well, that's tomorrow. Okay, maybe not Thursday, maybe not Friday, maybe it'll be Saturday thing. In the next 3 days, I'll be transplanting into 1 or 2 gallon pots. I'll see what I have on hand. I'd rather go to a 1 gallon, but I might have to do twos because I don't know if I have 1 gallons on hand. And I'm pretty tight financially these days with everything I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and everybody, Miss K's Garden has just released a new video called Coming Soon. I don't know what it's called, but I got a feeling it's our genetics. So check that out, everybody. Go to Miss K's Garden. It's called Coming Soon. Let's see that. I'll be right back. I just got to grab a beer. Dale Sciochi, I've got one strain in my collection that comes out basically straight black and orange. The leaves are black, but the great super orange pistillization on those plants. I call it Halloween weed. It took me over 10 years to convince my buddy to let me have some of those. Uh, Jensen Dennis says, "What is dry back and the science behind it? Just more stress." If you mean by dry back, which is a term I can assume you mean letting your plants dry out properly, then yeah, that's just mimicking natural things that happen within Mother Nature. So when we super dry our plants out, let our medium and root ball almost go to the point of where it's a negative issue of drying our plants out. What we're doing is we're turbocharging our plant's ability to survive. We're manipulating its plant's natural want to live. So it's developing more gentle resins to preserve itself and to protect itself. So yes, it's a form of threatening the plant with death to produce certain results. So you got to remember, a big part of what we do with genetics and our growing techniques is often stress, torture, and fear. Not fear of like being mean to the plant by what we say to it. Got to be loving when we do these things, and then it's less likely. Because I'm a big believer in that. Be nice to your plants, even when you're doing these hardcore, higher stress techniques to bring the best out of it. But yeah, it's basically, I wouldn't say plant cruelty. It's more about, you learn more from a bad book than you do a good book, right? It's through trials, tribulations, and hardships that we grow and become the people that we want to be. The same thing is for plants. Like, I mean, I'm usually pretty harsh on my little seedlings early on. I make them work, I make them struggle, I fuck with them and make their life a little harder because they may at the time think I can't overcome this, but then they do, and they develop and become something even more. Same as the human condition, and so that in and of itself is a very realistic approach that I have employed my entire career of growing to what I do. A lot of people see what I do to my plants over the years and they're like, holy shit, you got balls. I'm like, nah, man, I just believe in my plants, and I know what they can be. um, but so what you call the dry back, that's very common. Most growers who have any clue of what they're doing utilize that one. Um, it's not a new concept. That's a new name for it. I don't know if we ever really had a name for it, to be fair. So it's okay that someone came up with the term to reference what we're talking about. I never really had a name for it, but um, Bud swat, brighter light, somewhat denser buds, genetically dependent. Another thing really that you're going to be doing is actually using a CO2 injection, whether we're talking synthetic CO2 from a tank with sprayers or doing like a brewer's yeast or a basic yeast and keeping that culture alive with its CO2 offshoots. Again, microagitation is not only going to cause your plant to increase density and but also its cannabinoids, defoliation. All these little stressors that we do are going to trigger both greater density. Most plants with a much higher heat will become fluffier. So doing a cold, shock at lights out or at times throughout the flowering window will also help to tighten those buds. But one of the biggest things at the end of the day for dense buds, it starts with your genetic. Think of the genetic as a set of paints, right? You can paint what you can with a certain set of paints. So the most important thing really for making dense buds is picking the right genetic to start. And then we have these secondary accentuating techniques that we can do to then trigger or bring certain things about. Daleski OG, yes. Copycat genetics is arguably one of the biggest douchebags in the industry. And hey, man, I hope the genetics that you have from them work great. And I'm not saying that. Don't feel bad about trying those beans out. Just know the people behind them are absolutely horrible human beings. They rip off other people's genetics and then they go charge $1 billion for shit that most of the time doesn't germ. Over the years, there's been a few different people. One specifically, I can't remember her name now, reached out to me, um, shared all these pictures and stuff, and she was on disability. She was trying to grow her own medicine. She spent a ridiculous amount of money for a 10 pack of beans of something that didn't work. None of them germed, and they told her to go fuck herself. And she was on very limited income, very disabled, and just trying to take care of herself and grow medicine that would help her life. So I sent her, I didn't have what she had ordered, but I had things that in my mind were similar. I just gifted them to her and sent them to her because I felt for her and it was heartbreaking. So that was the main thing I would say to Copycat Genetics. Crap King, yeah, they're crap now. Back in the hood days, Crop King was good. When they first started, they were legitimate. But sadly, that's another no go in my humble 2 cents. But at the end of the day, my friends, my family, we've hit an hour and a half. That's the first stream in a while we've done that. So, and I felt good the whole time. I could probably keep going on this. Uh, I should, in fact, though, I've got a bunch of things I got to do today, um, including going to an adult arcade with my significant other. She just texted me going, "Should I go to another coffee shop?" And I was like, "No, no, no, you're good." Um, so, simply put, my friends, there's a huge sale going on for another. Let's see. I'm going to check the timer here on our store. You've got 1 day, 7 hours, 28 minutes, and 9 seconds to get 25% off. If you order 4 packs, you get one free. But it's 25% off anything on our store: hats, t-shirts, grinders, beard oil, our CBD tinctures, everything. Everything's on sale, and it's for you, whether it's for yourself or a gift for someone you care about. That will be going on until Friday midnight, which means Thursday night when it hits midnight becomes Friday. So you've got exactly now 1 day, 7 hours, 27 minutes, and 42 seconds. All right, everybody, potsquatchsales.com. Check it out. That's where it's at. Um, Again, like, subscribe, tell your friends, share our videos. Share our videos all over the internet. That really helps the algorithm to stop persecuting and hating on us. If you ever, oh, I didn't show the ladies. Okay, we'll do that quickly as we're saying goodbye. 1 second here. All right, 1 second here, everybody. Let me see if I can. So, as you can see, right now, we're seeing this curving down, okay? Not happening on the other ones as much. This one is definitely having it happen, okay? But this is what our plants do when they want to be transplanted. I'm, again, root locking them, stressing them out. I'm wanting to see on these single initial serrated, as you can see, a little self-cannibalization. As you can see on this one there's a little bit there. Gave them a feed today. We're going to let them go for another couple days. We're going to top, we're going to transplant because we want those roots as root locked and almost beginning to cannibalize itself because it's trying to not do it for nutrients, but kill out these lower levels to feed new growth. That means when we transplant to our 1 or 2 gallons, okay, we're gonna have like this explosion. It's gonna be like a root explosion, like a grenade. It's a technique I do every run. Certain things are tried, tested, and true. But these are the babies right now here at Wednesday. You'll get an update on them on Monday. They will be definitely transplanted by then, okay? But my friends, my family, 1 second here. My friends, my family, thank you for tuning in to another midweek live stream. Super sales going on. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. And remember, the true grower is the forever student. The true grower is not afraid to take risks. The true grower makes educated, stupid decisions. Love yourselves, love your plants, love each other. We are the Potsquatch Growers Army, and we will never die, we will never go anywhere. We will always stand for our people. Love each other. Be kind to each other. We're living in arguably the darkest world we've ever done since I've ever been on YouTube. A little bit of compassion and understanding goes a long way. You never know what someone's going through. So, my friends, my family, with this I say a humble adieu. One second here. There we go. And we'll see you next time. Keep it real. Keep it sexy. Keep it Potsquatch. Word to your mother.